So in today's session, we are going to learn about modifier extension and what is this symbol inside the domain name resource. Let's go to our hl7.org page. Go to any resource type. As we discussed about patient a lot of time, selecting patient. And over here, go to the domain name resource. This is what which will describe all the details inside it. I've been saying this from past few videos, just for the new people. So I'll click on domain name resource and we will go to modifier extension. In the previous video, we learned about what is extension, adding extra functionalities to the FHIR, something like Z segments in HL7. Now modifier extension. So what does it mean? Extensions that cannot be ignored. For example, if you see this particular symbol and I'll go back to the actual structure, for example, this was the actual structure. I'll go to resource types and I'll go to the patient again. I'll just keep it here for understanding purpose. So this was the actual structure of the patient, and inside the domain name resource, this was a modifier extension, which actually defines the structure. So if we go back and identify what is modifier extension in the actual FHIR patient resource. So over here, you can see there are a lot of symbols. The, when you hover around it, it says this element is a modifier extension. Again, over here, this element is a modifier extension. So when you check about the active one, whether the patient's record is in active use or not. So this is a Boolean function. So it will be having true or false details. Okay, so again over here, deceased. It indicates the individual is deceased or not. Again, this is a Boolean function. This is a true or false. So why it is called as a modifier extension? Just imagine if the patient is not deceased, it is false. Will be able to provide the patient disease time? No, right? So if the patient is diseased and this output is false, like the disease is false, sorry, true, we will be able to provide the date and time. So it's actually modifying the structure of this particular FHIR patient resource depending upon this particular modifier. So whether if the patient is active or not, depending upon the rest of the dates will be populated. Similarly, if the patient is deceased, we cannot populate this particular, we can populate this particular date and time. If the patient is not deceased, we cannot. So it's actually modifying the structure. So that's the reason it is called as actually a modifier extension. Anything which has a dependency which will actually modify the rest of the patient structure, that is called modifier extension. In a very simple and lame terms, let's discuss about a few examples. So I'll be showing you an example. So I will paste the structure of it over here. To our better understanding, I just keep it simple. Perfect. So this is one of the patient structure which I pasted over here. There's an example. Ignore this particular comment. So this is a complete structure, the identifier details, active name, telecom, all the details are over here, like whether it's active. For example, if it is true, these details are there. If it is false, these details will not be there. So if we go to directly deceased example, you can see over here, and when you scroll down, or you can do one thing. If you are unable to search, do Control F and do DEC deceased. Okay, perfect. Over here you can see the deceased boolean is false, means this particular modifier, the deceased boolean is false. And when it is false, there is no reason to declare date and time. You will not be able to declare date and time. That's the reason there is no point of having date and time over here. So this would be ignored. So similarly, in another example, if this particular deceased boolean is true, true, automatically the fire resource structures gets modified and deceased date and time will be added. So over here, automatically deceased date and time will be added. I'm just copying and pasting it to make it fast as possible. That's how it should be. If it is true, automatically the structure is modified. If it is false, the structure is modified and this will be get removed. That's the reason this will be having the name as modifier extension. So whenever you have this question mark in any part of your extension, over here it is going to modify whether it's active or not, whether it's deceased. So even you can have your own extensions. If you go to domain resource, you can have your own extensions which have this modifying capability. You can add it. So it's like custom segments. So that's the functionality of modified segments. You will be using this a lot in future scenarios, real-time scenarios. So this is always a base structure. Remember, when you click on the patient resource or whatever resource, always the base most used fields and elements will be showed over here. Not everything. So the rest of them you can add depending upon your requirement. Similarly, in HL7, if you search for a sample HL7 ADT, only the most used fields and segment will be showed. The rest of the things will not be showed. So similarly, that's how it will be looked over here. Thank you. Hope you were able to understand. And even I'll be giving the GitHub description, GitHub link with this particular data. You can refer to it. Thank you.